Hey guys, and welcome to today's video where we are going to be talking about the parasocial relationships that form between content creators and their viewers on websites like Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and any other place where people can grow a large following online. The concept of an influencer is not a modern one. It dates all the way back to like Roman times when gladiators would endorse products before their fights because they were kind of the celebrities of the time. But today we're going to be focusing on specifically on the parasocial relationships that form between content creators and their viewers. Before we start, make sure you are subscribed down below with notifications on so you don't miss an upload, and remember to leave a like on this video if you do go on to enjoy it. So like I said in the intro, the concept of an influencer is not anything new. Influencers have existed in many shapes and forms for a long time, but the growth of social media and especially platforms like YouTube and Twitch have created a generation with a lot more influencers than we have ever seen before. The rise of online celebrities and influencers happened because the general public suddenly had access to viewing the lives of pretty much anyone who had a social media account, and so people started to post things that they knew would interest others in order to grow a large following and in turn become an influencer. This happened mostly on YouTube to start with, then on Instagram and then Twitch as well, and the fact that normal people were amassing like hundreds of thousands of followers online started to blur the line between ordinary person and celebrity. Previously, the people that we looked up to, people appearing in like the press and in magazines, on TV, were these like ultra glamorous celebrities whose lives seemed so far detached from ours that they just didn't appear to be like normal human beings. Like, think Paris Hilton, her endless partying, her endless shopping. Like, people may have been in awe of her and jealous of her lifestyle, but in general no one looked at her and thought like she was someone you could realistically aspire to be like, because her lifestyle was so detached from that of an ordinary person. With online influencers, it was different. They were just like us. They are ordinary people filming videos or streaming or making content from their bedroom. They didn't have rich families or mansions or tons of money. They were just normal people who other people happened to like, and so they would grow large followings. Think like Jenna Marbles, for example. Her original videos was just her sat in her bedroom making like 2-minute long joke videos. There was little production that went into it. She wasn't known for anything else before this, but people liked her, and so she started to grow a subscriber base. This trend only continued and the number of influencers exponentially grew as social media became a bigger part of a larger number of people's lives, which in turn created a lot of parasocial relationships between these seemingly normal people and their audiences. So let's define a parasocial relationship. So parasocial relationships are one-sided relationships where one person extends emotional energy, interest and time, and the other party, the persona, is completely unaware of the other's existence. Like influencers, parasocial relationships are not a new concept. They've been around for as long as celebrities or well-known people have been around for. You could even look at things like the Bible and say that Jesus had a parasocial relationship with all of his followers because everyone knew him, but he didn't know any of them until they would turn up to him and ask him for help. Like, he didn't know about their existence, but they all looked up to him. Like, that is a parasocial relationship. Think about like a band or an artist that you have particularly liked. Maybe you knew a lot about them, maybe you followed them, or maybe an actor who you watched all of their movies and read all the articles about them in magazines. Those are parasocial relationships with those artists or celebrities or actors, because you know a lot about that person while that person knows nothing about you. Any fandom, for example, the Directioners, the Barbs, the Little Monsters, the Beehive, the Harmonizers, each of the fans within that fandom has a parasocial relationship with that artist of some degree because the artist knows nothing about them, whilst they know more about that artist than they would about any other ordinary person. When you are part of that fandom, you are committing energy to a relationship that you're forming with that artist through buying and listening to their music, going to their tours, watching their interviews, following them on social media, and all of these actions contribute to the parasocial relationship that you have with that artist. These parasocial relationships, however, do differ from the ones that occur between an online content creator and their viewers. When the person that you're admiring is a celebrity or an artist, they have this kind of aura about them of being in a different world. Like, you would never expect that person to read your tweets or your blogs or know that you exist. However, with online creators, it's slightly different. When a creator is posting YouTube videos or live streaming themselves on Twitch, what the viewer experiences is very different to what you experience in like the crowd at a concert, or when you watch a movie with your favourite actor in but you know that the character that they're playing is not real. Instead of being one person in a huge crowd or watching something through the lens of a fictional story, you're getting a one-on-one personal experience which seems as if the creator is directly addressing you. So if I look like directly down my camera lens right now, it feels as if I'm talking directly to you, but for me, I can't see you. I can't see your face, your expressions, I can't see where you are, and yet for you, it looks as if I'm looking directly at you when all I'm seeing is the live footage of myself in the camera. Like, what you as a viewer experience is very different to what them as a creator will see. To someone who is watching a video or a live stream, when it feels like the creator is talking directly to you, it makes you feel as if you're kind of hanging out with a friend, you know this person, and when in reality, all that they're seeing is their camera. So the viewer experiences a setting that's similar to like a catch up with an old friend, whereas the creator just feels like they're in a room with themselves. And that's what forms this kind of parasocial relationship, like the personal interaction that it feels like you're getting from that content creator, particularly on Twitch, where you can live chat and have that creator respond to you in real time. It feels like you're having a conversation with them when actually you are just one of many that they are just responding to the comments. They can't see the person behind that comment. The more that you watch a creator's content, the more that you get to know about them, the more that you find out about their lives, and the more it feels like they are a friend, because you're learning things about this person that you would only learn about someone that you were friends with. You see much more of their life than you would see of any other stranger's life, which contributes to this idea that this creator is like an estranged friend. And the fact that creators generally rise to fame because people like their personality is a big reason why these relationships form. Generally, you will enjoy watching someone who has a personality that you feel like you would want to be friends with someone with that personality in real life. If you like someone's channel, generally it's because you like them, and it's normally because they're the type of person that you would enjoy being around in real life. That's why parasocial relationships online are so different to ones that you have with mainstream celebrities. Celebrities are famous for their talent, YouTubers are famous for their personality, and you can enjoy someone's music but hate the way that they carry themselves in an interview. You can enjoy watching someone's film and dislike them as a person based on something that they've said to someone else. If you don't like someone's personality, you will not enjoy their content. Those things kind of go hand in hand, where if you don't like the person, you won't enjoy what they're putting out, whereas for celebrities, you can enjoy the product without enjoying the person. The entire premise of getting famous online by having a personality that viewers like, in turn strengthens the feeling of the content creator being a friend-like figure to the viewer. There's also the ease of meeting content creators. With celebrities, the chance of ever meeting your favourite celebrity is minuscule at best, unless you have like hundreds of pounds to spend on meet and greets to have like before concerts or before events. And even if you do, you'll literally get a photo and then you'll go into a crowd and become one of many people who are basically faceless individuals to that person. Whereas with YouTubers, there's so many more opportunities to meet them and interact with them. Things like VidCon, Summer in the City events that happen once a year, but also meetups and meet and greets that these creators will do, all give you a more personal interaction with them than you would get with a mainstream celebrity. Like, if you meet a celebrity, you know that they're preparing for a concert, they are just meeting you to make money. Whereas with a YouTuber who is attending this event and you're not paying to meet them, you're not paying to be around them, it feels more like you're meeting someone that you know than you're meeting a like massive celebrity. And also, because these meetups are so much more accessible than those with a celebrity, generally the YouTuber will have more time to chat than a celebrity would, because if you go somewhere like Summer in the City, there's going to be people there who are fans of a whole load of different YouTubers, so you're not always going to be waiting in like massive queues to meet this person because the event is not all about them. So they will have more time generally to kind of take a photo and like have a chat with you quickly before they then move on to the next person. This is not like as significant as other things, but I think it is worth noting because the accessibility of an interaction with a creator is important to becoming emotionally invested in that person and their content. When you're competing against like thousands of other fans just to get a like on Twitter from someone, you know that the chances of them noticing you even just once are slim. Whereas when you leave a comment on someone's video or you type something in their chat, the chance of them responding is much, much higher, and even the chance of getting a like from them on Twitter is increased than that of a normal celebrity because their career is online, so they're spending a lot more time online reading things in their mentions or things that people are saying about them. And it kind of contributes to the feeling that if this person is liking your tweets or seeing you in their mentions all the time, that this is a person that you know and not just a stranger on the internet. Now, every online content creator will be aware of the fact that there is a parasocial relationship that exists between them and their viewers, because it's an inherent part of having an audience of people that you don't know. Some, however, whether unknowingly or knowingly, deepen that relationship in some of the things that they do. So, first example is creating a tight-knit community. Whilst all creators have a community, some communities differ from the majority because the creator gives them more unconscious cues to develop this relationship. So an example of this is James Charles referring to all of his fans as his sisters. A sister is a close relative, so it unconsciously purports the idea that this person is someone who you have a close personal relationship with, when in reality, you do not, because James Charles does not have a close personal relationship with 25 million people. It may seem like a really minor thing, like, yeah, so what, he calls his fans sisters, loads of people have names for their fan bases, but when you factor in the one-on-one experience that each sister gets when they watch a James Charles video, they aren't thinking about the 25 million other sisters that there are, because in that scenario it feels like it's just them and their friend James. So having this affectionate nickname can contribute to deepening this parasocial relationship, and the same is true of the Ace family. They call their fans the Ace family, and it implies this close relationship that the fan feels when they watch the video, which in reality doesn't exist. Second example is manipulating the relationship to gain in some way, which that's where the creator will try to make the viewer deliberately feel like there's a relationship between them in order to gain something from them. So for this, I'm going to use Alfie Days as an example because I've already talked about him in depth doing this before. So firstly, I want to show you a clip of him revealing his book to the world. So some context, the book was half finished, basically half the pages were blank, and Alfie said that this was because he wanted to let his fans fill them in because he loves interacting with his fans.
And this is it. Okay? This here is called The Pointless Book. It is started by Alfie Days and finished by you.
So in this clip, he's explaining to the viewer that if they buy the book, it will be like they're interacting with him. And the reason he couldn't be bothered to fill half the pages in was because he loves to interact with his fans so much through them filling in the blanks rather than him having to do it himself. And that's just because he loves them so much. This plays into the parasocial relationship between him and his fan because he knows that these people feel like he's their friend, they like his content, they want to interact with him, and so he uses that desire for interaction as a way to make a product that is minimum effort, maximum reward. There is no interacting happening with this book because he will never see what you've written in that book. He will never know what you filled it in with, and him saying that it's an interaction, it's just incorrect because it's just you filling in a journal for your own personal enjoyment that he will never see or experience. Like, that's not an interaction. He does not get an interaction with a fan every time that they fill in that book. It just doesn't happen. And Alfie is not the only YouTuber that we've seen do this. Jake Paul's Edfluence scheme was sold as a way for Jake to give back to the fans that he loves so much, but actually it was just a scam so that he could make a quick buck off of their desire to be friends with him and just like him. Creators who leave their platform and then claim to come back because they missed you guys so much and they just love you so much. Actually, they just need to convince their fans to watch their new content so that they can carry on making money. Most of the time, YouTubers are not trying to exploit this relationship. Sometimes they say or do things that they don't even realise are subtly convincing the viewer that this relationship exists, but these are some of the examples of where people have knowingly exploited that relationship for their own personal gain. Now, I think that just the basic definition and the concept of how a parasocial relationship forms can make it seem like the mere existence of this type of relationship is a negative thing. However, that's not necessarily true. A lot of people talk about how a celebrity or an influencer like saved their life or gave them a safe space, which happens because of this closeness that you feel to that person, because watching them and their content gives you comfort, gives you a kind of place to escape from the real world. And having this relationship where you feel comforted by a person's content and interaction with them without having to put any effort in to maintain an actual real relationship can feel like a great breathing space from the pressures of real world relationships. It can provide an escape from anything unpleasant that might be going on in your real life, because it's like seeing a friend who knows nothing about your problems and so they will never bring them up. Like, if I sit down and I've had a bad day and I decide that I'm going to watch a video from someone, they are never going to be talking about what is going on in my life and like the problems I'm having right now. So it's kind of like you can detach yourself from those real life problems when you watch that person, and you feel comforted by the fact that you can just detach from whatever stresses are going on in your life. So these relationships, they can be positive, but they can also be negative for both the fan and the creator, particularly when things like celebrity crushes form, because with a normal celebrity, like, you know that celebrity is never going to meet you, they're never going to know who you are, but it can be particularly uncomfortable for online creators who then meet these people who have this kind of lust for them when they don't even know who they are, and like this person knows everything about them, but they have no idea who that person is, and that fan knows that this is not a real relationship, but because of how much they know about that person, they kind of develop these feelings that then make things really awkward if they ever do happen to meet this person, which is more likely than it would be with a normal celebrity. But that is just kind of one minor example. That doesn't happen a lot, but it can be uncomfortable, particularly for female creators on places like Twitch who have like a big male audience. Sometimes it can be a bit weird and it can make them feel a bit uncomfortable. Obviously, there is also the negative of creators being able to exploit these relationships to their advantage, but most of the time this is not a major concern, and when it does happen, it's mostly not purposeful, apart from on the very occasional incident. These relationships and these communities that form around these influencers can also provide people with comfort and somewhere that they can go to have discussions with like-minded people, which is especially important during times like COVID, where real-life relationships may be strained or you may not be able to see your friends or family. So it's nice to have an online space where you feel comfortable interacting and you feel like you're part of a community. It gives people a sense of belonging in times like now, where loneliness has gotten to a lot of people, and like the mental toll that it takes on people can be quite severe. So in that way, it's positive to have a parasocial relationship with an online creator who is putting out content all the time, because you can interact with them and you can interact with other people who have the same relationship with an online creator and take comfort or enjoyment from that to kind of distract or take away from the loneliness that you feel from not being able to see anyone in your real life. And influencers, they can also be good role models. You might choose to follow someone because they seem to be like you know. Online creators are a lot easier to relate to than celebrities. So if someone has a similar personality to you or they look like you, it can give you someone to look up to. And also they tend to show like the negative parts of their life as much as the positive parts, so then you can see like everyone is a real person regardless of what following they have, and so it takes away from this kind of expectation that everyone has to have this perfect life and that all these influencers have this perfect life, and kind of helps you to not put so much pressure on yourself to be like that and to not have any problems at all. And it can feel more comforting to just support someone who is so open and honest about what's going on in their life than a celebrity who seems to live in this like perfect world that's inaccessible to everyone else. And it's easier to see an influencer as someone to aspire to because of their kind of relatability, and this can be a really positive thing if the values that the influencer stands for are positive. So things like body positivity or talking openly about mental health, they can have a really positive impact on their audience because it can make people feel more comfortable in themselves. Obviously, this can work the other way, where there are kids out there who now want to grow up and be Jake Paul, but most influencers are at least trying to be good role models for their audience, even if they are only minimally trying. Like Jake Paul, Rice Gum, etc., they are the exception here, they are not the majority. Overall, I think as long as the influencer is not trying to manipulate their audience or their fans or influence them negatively in some way, parasocial relationships are not a bad thing. On the surface, it might be something that you look at and think, based on the definition, that's probably an inherently bad thing, but I don't think that they are a negative thing in most circumstances. Do people get carried away with them sometimes? Yes. Do creators exploit them sometimes? Also yes. But these scenarios are rare enough that I can say, in general, I don't personally think that having parasocial relationships with online creators is a generally negative occurrence on the balance of everything, so long as the creator and the fan are not taking it too far. So that is everything that I have to say about parasocial relationships online. I would be interested to know what your guys' thoughts are. Have you had an experience with an online creator that's been like vastly different to what you'd expect from a celebrity? Have you got any parasocial relationships that you are particularly invested in? Or do you have anything to say about the topic that I haven't mentioned? Because this obviously is a shorter video than normal because I didn't go quite as in depth as I have on some other topics. So yeah, if you have anything to say, then please leave it in in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, then remember to leave a like and subscribe down below, notifications on to see more videos like this. I will hopefully see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!